This is part 2 and the last part in the training series of how to make this sword in Blender, and it's going to be all about texturing this sword. So first part was about modeling, and links to the first part, if you haven't watched it, are going to be in the description, and also links to the resources used in this project are going to be in the description. To this page here, you can see I've added more stuff since part 1, and I'll be adding even more stuff to break down the project a little bit further for any of you who want to do that. And you can see, if you're a patron, you can download the project files by just clicking this link, and part 1 is already up. Yeah, you can see some of the renders that are posted here. Yes, and you can also add some comments if you want to ask questions. I'll be making sure to answer those on the page itself. And maybe the third and final part of the series is just going to be a time lapse of how I created the training series trailer, which you see playing right now. So yeah, if you want to watch that, that is going to be the part 3 as a time lapse of that. Okay, so I've baked the pointness, but you can see that we have some bleeding. We said I think the margin is too high, so I'm just going to select all of these again and go back to the render settings and the margin settings. I want to reduce the margin. This is just a buffer, or it just adds some more pixels, makes a little bit more pixels away from the UV maps, just an extra pixels, but that is also bleeding into other UV islands, which I don't want. So let me try and bake again. Again, you can look at my render settings. My samples are set to 1 because we're just rendering the color. We're not doing any direct lighting or indirect lighting, so that should be enough. And just hit bake again. Bring it now in here. Look at how things look. Yeah. So it just highlights the edges. We can now create a mask from this. So let's create an edge mask. So I'm just going to grab this image. Now I can control. Yeah, I think that's good. So if you're getting this burning issue, it's because you don't have enough detail in your image. So instead of saving this as JPEG, we can try and save it as something else. So let me go to image, save as PNG at 16 bits, because I think the JPEG has a lot of compression. That's why we're seeing that. So let's save this as PNG, 16-bit, very little compression, and save. Now switch this to the new PNG. It's much better. We still have experiencing that, but it's not too much, or it's not as bad. Okay, so we have our worn out edges, and we can adjust this to get different areas. So let's say we want scratches here. I'm going to bring in my grunge maps. I'm using my texture folder add-on here, which you can get in the description, but you can just use an image and go to the folder where you have your grunges. Just find it much easier to locate them directly here with my add-on. So I'm just going to import this in like this. Now our scratches look stretched up, so what I'm going to do is use object mapping like this. So we have our scratches, and make sure that the projection is set to box so that you don't have any stretched out areas like that. Also, the resolution of our scratches might be a bit low, on the low side, so I'm going to scale this down and maybe blend this with more scratches like that. So let me import this image as well, bring that in. I can I guess use this here box as well. We can just use another mapping here. Okay, now also I don't want that seam there, so I'm going to add blending like that. Maybe do the same here. I can blend these two using a mix node. Now we can just mix them like that. Now I can grab another mix node, connect the two, choose, let's try color ban. If you look closely now, you can see that the edges have more detail. So previously everything looked plain like that. Now if I do that, you can see, I guess let's try color dodge. Let's go with color ban. There we can push the wear and tear using this. And if we want better control, because this slider can be a bit difficult to control, we can just use math node, convert math node with the operation of let's try multiply. You can use that or try power. I guess you can just use the sliders as well. So some nice worn out areas. And by the looks of it, we might want different areas to have different levels of wear. So for example, this area here, the blade itself, we might prefer a different wear. Yeah, so this is fine for this area. Okay, good. Now this is going to be our mask. We can grab some leather. Let me see, do I have any leather? Leather image. So can import this in. Let me save. Okay, let me call this handle. I'm gonna apply this to the handle area, to these here. So text is too large, scale it down like that. This is going to be the best. And we need a way to control the color, so add a mix RGB, change this to color, bring the factor up. I want the leather to be dark leather, so I can also add a value, another mix node, change the operation to value. This time can control, and it doesn't need this, and control how dark this looks. You make it, let me see if we have this off. Okay, something like that. Now we can bring in our worn out area, and actually I can then bring in this as a factor. Let's see, control the worn out areas like that. And okay, let's try this in a different way. Let's add a mix node here, change this to mix, have this as the factor, and then we want the worn out areas to be brighter, so I'm going to add a color RGB curves. Just make this a bit darker, and get another RGB curve. Oh, actually this should be there to make the worn out areas look more worn. Let's bring in some ambient occlusion, switch back to EV, ambient occlusion. You have all these control how worn out this is. Now you have, don't forget about the reference images. I like this dark look, so we might want to replicate that. So that we can also get a vector bump, connect this to the height, connect this to the normal. That just bring the strength. We just need a little bit like that. Now I want the color to be more dark, so let me see. Can add another color, RGB curves here. Make it like that. And I can also go back to my grunge maps and grab a grunge, like I think maybe this. Let's try. Yeah, we can go with that. Or this. Just connect this as the roughness. Again, need to give it some object mapping. Yes, around there, and add a car ramp. Like that. I think we also might want to bake the ambient occlusion, just so we have more control over this sword. So I'm going to grab this, select everything, and create a new image. Texture, image, texture, new. This time I think we can use, again, 2K. I'll call this, again, bake. 32-bit. Okay. Now what I want to bake is the ambient occlusion, so I'll select everything. Let me first check my normal orientation. Everything is good, because that will matter for the ambient occlusion. And we can go back to cycles. At this time, the samples have to be enough because we are baking ambient occlusion, which requires a lot of samples. So let's try 500 samples, or just limit this to 10 or 5 minutes. Okay, so let's this time ambient occlusion, and make sure you have the right image selected. And yeah, that's it. We're going to hit bake and see that. Okay, so we have our ambient occlusion baked. This is how it looks. Just need to save it. We can save it as JPEG, 16 bits, and I'll call this AO for ambient occlusion. Save that. And now we can bring that in. AO, look at that. Perfect. We have a few issues in some areas. Let me see. Let me check these out. Why do we have this as an issue? Okay, I'm not sure why that is the case. Anyway, we can just paint over that, clean it up. I guess this is a good way to demonstrate how that would work. Just paint that out, clean that up. Now you can just sample that area so that the color at least matches a bit, but I'm not too worried about that since it won't be too visible. Really not sure why that came about, but don't want to overthink about it. So let me just, okay, all is good. Let's see if there are any extra stuff. Okay, we're good. Go back to object mode, and after you do that, make sure you save. Alt S, save the image that you have done. Otherwise, those saves, that will not be saved if you don't do that. So, okay, we have this. We have a ambient occlusion. We can bring it on top of this. And the reason why I baked it, because I can use it to add stuff to this, so like that. So, but first, let me add it on top of the color. So just gotta get a mix RGB here. Connect this. And just use a multiply. And I can even add a car ramp to amplify the effect. Can add a math node on top of this with the operation of power. Make the effect much stronger. Connect this to the color, and we should be that is interesting. That's a nice effect. Look at that. Accidental effect, but looks amazing. Anyway, you know what? I think I'll add this at some point, but let's first stick to this. I want to add some dot. So let me grab this. Add a color mix RGB here. Grab another node. I want to create bring the power node back here. First bring this up. This is going to be our factor. Now this should be here. Now we can just simply give this a dark, that color. Now also, that is usually non-reflective, so we need to use this mask in the roughness as well. So I'm just going to bring this here, so I can control the dot roughness separately. So and just bring this back here. So something like that. Now it looks like that, I think. Maybe. Yeah, this shouldn't be that reflective either, so bump that up. Okay. Now we want the handle itself to have a slightly different color. So I'm going to grab, so where would the handle be? Where would this handle be? This metal? Let's see how these guys did it. Yeah, I think it should get a slightly different color. So I'm going to grab this. Duplicate this material. Call this handle base. Handle base like that. Assign. I just give this a slightly darker material. So I'm just going to use that. I want this to be color or value. just slightly different. Now we can go to the metal part. Change this to metal. The first thing we can do is make this metallic and assign all the metal parts. So this would be, take the metal piece, and these should also be metallic, and these pieces should also be metallic. Metal. Okay, so now then we can remove all the information that goes to the color. Okay, so this is what we have. I want this to be quite reflective. So okay, already looks, I think, good. Now we have our worn out mask. Yeah, we basically trying to get this look here. So this worn out mask, I want to have some edges there, and maybe let me scale this details down a bit. Add a color ramp here just to control this and see. Yeah, I think that's not too bad. Okay, we have some good edge detail. The thing we need to do is use this as the color. So I'm going to add a color ramp here, and this is going to be our base. Okay, already looking good, I think. So make this a bit bright. Like that. Yeah, that's looking good. Just make this a bit brighter, I guess. Don't want to push it too hard. It's somewhere like that. Now we can come back here. Come back to this mask, play with it. I think this is too red. So let me change that to, no, not that color. I want to change more darkish color, and also the base. Now this is too blue now. These here, I'm going to call them, because I want them to be more worn out than they are right now. So I'm going to call them metal 2, metal more worn. I don't know if that's the spelling. So let me come here, just basically make them more worn out. Then we still need to bring in the dot. So let me see, where's my ambient occlusion? Is this? This is the worn out. So let me bring in my ambient occlusion, texture, image texture, ambient occlusion. Actually, ambient occlusion for the metal. So texture, image texture, navigate to ambient occlusion. Okay. Again, we can start with the math node. Make this power. So we have more detail like that. Then we can use a color ramp like that. You can see where the data is going to collect, maybe somewhere like that. Then you can add a color mix RGB. This can be of factor. If you look at this, let's see. Okay, it's supposed to be the other way around. This should be down here, and our dot should be something like that. But again, that is not metallic, so we need to use this mask as the maintenance for the maintenance like that. And again, we need this for the roughness as well, because that is quite rough. Getting the color of that is usually not that easy, but I think that will do. And we have a sword. Let me see what else is lacking here. Yeah, you might want to add in some text here. So let's go to Photoshop or your favorite text editor. Let me see how that's. Yeah, maybe this could work. So let me get that. Install. Go to Photoshop. Just need a new image. I just write whatever I want. And let's say thy shall subscribe. Okay, now we can come back in, create a new UV, call this text, and we want this written. We can have this written around this or this. Yeah, okay. With this, let's add a new image, bring in our text, which looks like that. Because we make sure that we are using the UV input we have just created, the text input. And now I can just do a projection, UV projection. I rotate this, and we should have thy shall subscribe inscribed on this. Thou shalt subscribe, thou shalt subscribe. I think I want it to be more spaced out. Can use Alt R to reload the text. Perfect. So how do we use this? We can use it as a bump in here. I say we don't have anything connected to the bump. So I can use this as the bump, and look at that. Now you can see that the text, the resolution is a bit off. So what I'm going to do is come back to Photoshop, and I'm just going to crop this. Don't see that much detail, so I'm going to come back in, grab that. Of course, we need to unwrap this again. So just do projection from view, rotate -90. That should get us that. So just bring this around there. You see, much better resolution, but still, I think we need to change the resolution directly here. So let's do -2, -2, -2. Come back here, reload, and I think that's much better. Then another thing we could do is use this to make this text, the inside of the text, much darker. So I'm going to add a mix RGB here, bring this as a mask, and this as the color. So if I look at this, actually this should be color 2. Now I can make this, the text, more darker, or give it whatever color I want, and so I can change. It's not really, oh yeah, you can see it, but I shall subscribe. I don't want it to repeat all the way, so for this image we're going to use a no repeat or clip. Extend, sorry, extend, and so that is only there. Yeah, that's how you do it.